a series on that. So how we doing Facebook and Instagram? Today is Monday, the 19th of April, 2021. We're going to be talking about real estate note investing on Monday nights. And I am talking about exit strategies. We've kind of talked about what a note is, why you would want to invest in them, and some other previous videos that we've done. So now we want to talk about when we start to analyze deals and look at deals, you must have a exit strategy. And the good thing about note investing is that there are quite a few different exit strategies that you can implement if a note that you buy goes non-performing. And that's the worst case scenario. When you buy a note, you expect the homeowner to pay you whatever it is that their monthly payment is. And as long as they do that, everything is fine. But what happens when they stop paying? And again, that is worst case scenario. So we're going to kind of talk about some of the strategies. And like I said, there are a number of different strategies. So we're going to just kind of break it down and go through a few for the next couple of weeks. And you'll start to see all the ways that you can exit out of a note, so to speak, or recoup your investment when it comes to note investing because of the multiple exit strategies. And I know most people are always concerned about what happens if I buy this particular property, if I spend 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 of my investment money and the people stop paying. Well, the good thing with notes is that there's a lot of different options that you do have, and that's what we're going to kind of get into. So, if you haven't seen some of the other videos or join me for some of the other videos, if you put a comment in, I can send you some of the other recordings that we have, and it kind of goes through what a note is, the benefits, the pros and cons of note investing. So you don't want to just start all over with all that information. We're just going to go from this topic of exit strategies and focus on those for a little while. So, and this is, again, you basically have two categories, performing and non-performing. Within those two categories, you'll have what is called a sub-performing note. That would kind of be go under the umbrella of non-performing. That means that they're paid sporadically. They pay 4 or 5 months in a row, miss a month, make it up the next month, go 4 or 5 months, been making payments, and then maybe skip a payment or pay half, something like that. So those are sub-performing. So we put that under the umbrella of a non-performing note. We expect it at any time to go non-performing if they are continuing to pay like that. And then you have the performing. And then underperforming, you have reperforming, meaning that they were once non-performing or sub-performing, and then now they've shown consistency in making payments. So we're going to talk about, the non-performing side, the exit strategies. We will get into, when a performing note, but when a performing note goes bad, you can pretty much implement these same strategies, just depending on what you prefer to do. So, we're just going to kind of take maybe 2 or 3 different things that you can do and talk about them. And then this way it'll ease the, what's the word I'm looking for? When you understand the exit strategies, it shouldn't make you panic, is a good word, if a note stops performing. Because with notes, you can always take back the property as a worst case scenario. And even if, let's just say, you take back the property and it's in terrible condition, Because we have purchased it at a certain discount, we can still find ways to be able to exit a situation like that without losing money. Even if we were to break even, that is better than losing money. But in a lot of cases, we will be able to recoup our initial investment as well as make a profit. So, um, and that's why, I really suggest that people get into note investing to look for diversity within their portfolios, whatever it is that you are investing in. Even if you are investing in traditional real estate, you want to look at notes to diversify the portfolio. Um, so, and the one good, the biggest thing is that you have these multiple exit strategies to protect your investment. There's not a lot of investments where they have this many different exit strategies. Some do have some things that you can do, one or two options, but here you have several different options on what you can do. So once you understand that, it should put you at a certain comfortability level once you start to invest where, okay, they're not paying, but I know I can do ABC or 1, 2, 3 on this, so I am protected. And all that is because you did buy the note at the proper price in the beginning. If you overpay in the beginning, then some of these exit strategies, may not work. But as long as we make sure that you purchased at the right discount and at the right investment to value level, these exit strategies should work. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a loan modification. When someone stops paying, they miss a month, they miss 2 months, whatever the case may be. You as the note holder, and maybe not you specifically, but you can have your servicing company reach out to the homeowner and offer them a loan modification. I would think that most people understand what a loan modification is. If you remember the crash in 2007, 2008, there were a lot of different loan modification programs and things going on to help homeowners at that particular time. So loan modification is just reworking the terms. Let's just say this was a 360-month or 30-year mortgage. The person had been paying for 4 or 5 years, so there's going to be over 300 payments still due, because 30 years is 360 payments. So let's say they were in there for 5 years. That's 70 payments, I believe. So there's 290 payments left. You can rework that number of months, and now maybe it goes back to 360 payments. So now you're reworking the numbers to stretch out the payment, maybe reduce the interest rate to be able to bring that payment down. Maybe they couldn't afford it because something happened at the job, maybe a divorce situation, medical situation, family, something happened with a kid or something like that, or some type of financial hardship that they're going through that they can't afford that quote-unquote $500 payment. So then if we go in and rework these numbers, bringing down the interest rate, stretching out the term again, and we play with the numbers, you can change that $500 payment to maybe a $400 or $350 payment. And once again, because we purchased right in the beginning, purchased at a certain investment to value ratio, your return should still be a good, solid return. I mean, if it was 10% or 9%, maybe it's not that high because we're reworking the numbers. Maybe it goes down to 6 or 7, but still, you're going to be receiving that payment every month, and you're not necessarily losing money. And anything that is owed, when you do a loan modification, you as the note holder can forgive that, or you can just tack it on to the end. Obviously we would suggest that you tack it on to the end. And when that person, let's just say they get back on their feet, they start working, um, making more money, whatever the case may be. So when they go to possibly refinance or sell the house, they still have to make up for all those payments that they did miss that you put on the back of the loan. So you really didn't lose anything. It was maybe uncomfortable and a little uneasy because you weren't receiving your monthly payment like you were at one time, but you're going to get it back when they refinance or sell a property or something like that. So, um, and then you can do it on a trial basis. You can say, okay, we'll do this for the next 90 days, 180 days. And if you can make this payment consistently, then we can keep this in place. But if during this particular time, in month 4 or 5, something like that, you miss a payment, this modification is null and void, and then we can go back to possibly foreclosing on the property at that particular time or doing something else at that particular time. So, how many homeowners would like to hear that? If they got into a little trouble, you reached out to them and said, I understand, during this COVID season, your husband, your wife, they were laid off. This is what I'll do. I'll rearrange this for now, just to get you back paying. And I don't know if a lot of the mortgage companies went to people and did that and offered that to them. And then again, how many people took, you know, took them up on that offer? But if we're calling and reaching out to them, I think that most homeowners, obviously you have some homeowners that just gonna milk the system. We just can't do anything about that. But most people who have put down a significant down payment on a house and are invested in this property are gonna love the fact that you're coming to them, trying to help them through this particular time and doing something to help them, get through whatever the situation is. So, um, that's a great exit strategy for you to have on a non-performing note. Now, this is when if you were to buy a non-performing note, this is maybe one of the things you could look at as your exit strategy. Okay, I can go in based on what I'm seeing in the file and through the paperwork. This person was working. Maybe they wrote a note to the previous note holder or the lending institution and said, requested a loan modification. That'll happen. You'll see that in the file where people were looking for that opportunity, but for whatever reason, the bank, sold it off, sold it to someone else, and it got down to us. So, hey, we could say, now when I look at this non-performing note and know that this person wants to pay me, and I'm buying this at 30 cents on the dollar, 35, 40 cents on the dollar, whatever the case may be, whatever discount you're buying it at, because we're not going to buy it at any more than 50 cents on the dollar, knowing that no one is paying. And then I can go to them and say, look, I see that you made this request. Let's see if we can do this. Let's give you a little trial and all that to make sure that you are committed to making this payment. And a lot of homeowners are going to love that. They're going to say, oh, wow, that's, that helped me out tremendous. I went from $500 payment, I'm only paying $425 or $400 now. I'm saving $100. I can start paying, start getting back on my feet. That's tremendous when you can do that. So, that's one of the extra strategies. And that's if you buy a performing note and it goes to non-performing, you can do that. Or if you buy a non-performing note, because sometimes people ask, like, why would somebody buy a mortgage or a note that the person's not paying? And this is why, because of these exit strategies that can be implemented. You can look at 3, 4, 5 different ways that you can help this particular person out by buying this note because of the amount of money that you have into it and what this property is worth. So another one is a deed in lieu. Maybe you reach out to the homeowner and you start talking to them. Maybe you don't know from the paperwork what the issue was, what happened. You reach out to them and they tell you. I lost my job. My wife, she lost her job. We just don't have any income coming in right now. And they'll tell you, hopefully, they'll talk to you about their situation. I think if you leave that lines of communication open, and depending on the person, obviously there are people that will just not pick up the phone and not pay until um, you have to go foreclose. But again, if this person has something vested in the property, been there, maybe has children that go to school, there's a lot of different things um, that could play into them, being someone that may, at least talk to you about, well, what are my options right now based on this situation? Well, you're not working, it's hard to really be able to do a loan modification with someone who isn't working. They don't have, they don't have the money to make the payment. So you say, look, I understand you're going through a tough time. You've missed X amount of payments. You can do a deed in lieu of foreclosure, a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Say, if you just leave the house in good condition, I'll forgive all the payments that you missed, and I won't, come after you and try to get a judgment for the money that you do. Oh, I'll just let you walk away free and clear where you can go and start your life, over again, so to speak. If you have the ability to do that, or you can go wherever it is that you plan on going, I'll let you do that, and you won't, we'll forgive, any of these payments. A lot of times, person would, now my credit's not getting messed up anymore. At least I can just go, kind of get back on my feet. Whatever it is that we have to do as a family or as an individual, I can have that peace of mind when my credit is just not getting worse. And know that the stress of this house is off my back. They may say, you know what, I'll do that. And you want to put in certain conditions because you don't want people to tear up the house and then leave. So we can have someone in that local area, because we can always get in touch with people in the local area that can go by and be our eyes and ears, or boots on the ground is what they call. Go by the house, have them sign some documents, just signing over the house back to you as the note holder. And now you got that property back, and you didn't have to go through foreclosure. Um, Saved you some money there. This person, the owner, was willing to, leave it in a certain type of condition. So hopefully you don't have to go back in and do a lot of major repairs or anything like that. So, um, that is something that you have the ability to do. And when you're working with a borrower and communicating with them, and they're communicating with you, um, this is another exit strategy where you now get the property back. Now you have it. Now you can do. There's several things that you can do once you do take it back. We're not going to get into those today, but now that you own this piece of property that's in decent condition, and again, if we bought it as a non-performing note, we didn't pay more than 50% of the market value. And if we bought it as a performing note, we probably didn't buy it for more than 70% of the market value. So we're in a good position. We're not stuck. We're not panicking. We're not saying, like, what am I going to do to get my money back? You know that you can get your money back over time based on what you put into the property. So there's no need to really panic and get upset. We just have to look at a different exit strategy and make sure that those numbers fall in line with what we thought about prior to buying this particular note. Hopefully the market value has gone up. But even if it is going down, you have that cushion. You either have a 50% cushion. Oh, ow. Or we have like a 30 to 35% cushion in terms of market value. So even if it goes, even if it drops, we're still in a decent position. Quite a cramp. Sorry about that. But, we're still in a decent position. Will things fall off the table and go 50% under and 40 and, 60% undervalue? Then the whole market's messed up if it does that. So but we can still kind of maneuver our way and exit our way out of it over time. We just may have to hold on to it for longer. So, um, and then, as we mentioned a little bit, foreclosure. Sometimes you do have to take it to foreclosure. Sometimes you get people that don't want to respond to you, don't want to talk to you, just want to milk you, just want to stay there and not pay. So we may have to start that process. That will be an additional cost. But again, when we're looking at these notes, depending on how much money we want to invest and the state that the property is in, we always factor in those costs. Maybe there's an extra $3,500 that will factor into the pricing in case if this thing does go bad. So we're not above where we want to be. Now we're not at 55 cents on the dollar or 60 cents on the dollar after we foreclose. And then now we're not in a good position. Or if we're at 75 or 80%, we're not in as good a position, if we didn't factor that in prior. So, if you do want to buy something for $25,000, I would say you try to find something maybe around 20 to 22,000. Just because we always want to prepare for worst case scenario. Hopefully, we will never have to use that $3,000, $3,500, or $5,000 to foreclose, and we'll just keep that. So, hopefully, that's the case. Excuse me. But sometimes you do have to foreclose. And you, like I said, as long as you prepare for it in the beginning, and we're always preparing for worst case scenario. And, so that's how we break it down. We say, this is what we're going to pay. This is what we're going to put to the side in case something happens. And, we know that it's there. So now when you get that call, this person has a page, you're like, oh my God, like, you're not freaking out. You're like, oh yeah, you know what? We did put money aside. Let me just contact the foreclosure attorney in that particular area, start that process. Or two, what you could do is possibly that money that you put to the side, maybe even go to the homeowner as another exit strategy. Say, look, I'll give you cash for keys. I know you're not paying. Whatever happened in your life, I'll give you your first and last month's rent. Maybe that is cheaper than foreclosing in that particular state. Because sometimes you can foreclose for like $3,000 in certain states. It's not $5,000 or more thousand. So, maybe it makes more sense to give somebody $1,500, maybe $2,000 cash for keys. You leave it in a certain condition. We'll forgive this debt, and you can move on to whatever it is that you're going to go, and we'll take back the property, and then we'll deal with it at that point. Some people might think that's a good thing. Maybe they don't have the down payment or the security deposit to go get an apartment. Maybe they do have just enough money to rent out a place, and you can bring that to them. They may find that as a great option. So, again, these are just some of the couple of things that you can do. We will dive into more of the exit strategies in the next coming weeks. We're going to be here on Monday nights, 7:30, on Instagram as well as Facebook, where we post this too. So if anybody's watching a replay and you have a question, please type it in. And please share this with others. If you're not in a position where you're thinking about investing in notes, please try to share these broadcasts with others. This is not a big strategy that is in this neck of the woods in New Jersey that I know about. I don't know a whole lot of people who invest in notes. I'm sure that there are people that do, but most people do the fix and flip or the buy and hold. And you can do both of those strategies plus other things through note investing. So that's why we're really trying to push this out there. And hopefully it's making sense to people. And if it's not, if you do have questions, I would love to be a resource for you to help you out. You can create these notes on your own property. If you're having problems being a landlord, we can structure things and help you as a landlord on your particular property. so you can still get monthly income. You may be able to get some upfront money as well, depending on the situation, and not have to deal with tenants. So, we'd love to help landlords that are kind of, getting pushed to the limit right now with these forbearance agreements and people not paying and don't know when they're going to start paying. So, we can create a note on a property and be able to take over that property and get it back cash flowing and be able to make a payment um, to that landlord. Now there'll be a what they call a lien lord. There'll be the bank, and then now they can still get that cash flow that they were looking for. So, um, hopefully, like I said, you can go to my YouTube channel, Abundant Capital Group. There's some videos there. I'm getting ready. I'm in the process of switching that account, but for right now, the videos are there. Um, so if you want to go there and check them out, please do. And on not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the 29th, we are going to be talking about the basics of Zoom. You'll start to see the invitation to that. It'll be a Zoom meeting if people want to jump on. And that's when I kind of go back to the basics and start from basic level. And people that are new to the space, they have opportunity to come on and hear kind of the basics if this is their first time, hearing me talk about it. So if you have questions, I really would like people to join and ask their questions about it, find out about it, do some investigation on it. Because we have to get into the game, and you can get into this game with not a lot of money. What I do is kind of match people up, leverage people's money with maybe someone who has more money. You'll still be getting a percentage of whatever the monthly payment is coming back to you. So your $5,000 or $10,000 or $7,500 is still getting a good return. And a lot of people feel like they don't have a lot of money to get into this thing, but there are ways that you can get into this side of the real estate game or the real estate strategy and have your money work for you. So if you're an hourly worker, you're not in making 60, 70, 80, $100,000 a year, you can still use your money to invest. And we want to focus on those because those people are really suffering right now. And retirement accounts can be used. So maybe you can leverage some of that money. Maybe if you and a couple of family members or something like that, if you don't want to leverage with somebody else, maybe 2 or 3 of your friends who've been working at a job and they have some money, you can pool it together. I'm telling you, there's some opportunities out there right now, as well as there will be more opportunities coming up with everything that's going on. So again, just want to try and bring this opportunity to people. Hopefully it makes sense to them. I'll be here on Monday nights moving forward. I took off the last couple of Mondays trying to get refocused on, how to approach this. On Thursday nights, we will be talking about the self-directed IRAs. I don't know if a lot of people know about those and know how they work. So just trying to bring that information as well. If you have money in a retirement account, you think that, I can't take it out because I'll get penalized. We can get you to move that money into a different account and be able to use that money. We have to really know how to make our money work for us. That's one of the principles in the Bible. If you are a Christian, we should not be working harder for the money than the money is working for us. We need to get that money working, getting a return, and leveraging it so it's coming back with some good returns and growing faster. So there's a way to do it. You want to talk about it, you want to have some conversations, please reach out, and would love to share this information with as many people as possible. So with that being said, I'm going to take off tonight. We usually, like I said, don't stay on too long, just about 30 minutes when we're here. Again, Monday nights, we're going to be talking about note investing. Thursday nights, we're going to talk about self-directed IRAs, kind of just looking at it as a whole, taking different parts of that, and giving that information as well. So my telephone number is 973-475-8488. And you can reach me on social media at Abundant Capital Group on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And my email is acg@abundantcapitalgroup.com. And I think that's all you need right now. All right. Have a good night, and we will see you Thursday evening. I'll also be on. You can look for my videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the middle of the day. I usually put out some content in the middle of the day just in regards to real estate investing and the real estate in general. Articles, things that I've read, things that I think that are important to people or should be important to people or of interest to people. We try to put that out there to get them hopefully to think about certain things. So just trying to help, just trying to serve, and I appreciate everybody's time. So have a good night. Peace.